Are you seriously content with this idea that more than 5 out of 7 new homes will go to immigrants? Let's just stop right there, because that's not the truth. It's not happening, it's not the case, and yet, here we are, watching the narrative spin out of control. The government keeps dancing around the issue, pretending there's no housing crisis in the UK, while families are stacked like sardines in temporary accommodations or stuck on waiting lists that stretch into infinity. And then Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, has the audacity to claim there's *no housing crisis star. Imagine saying that to the single mom who's been living in a damp room for 2 years, or the young couple who can't even dream of affording a home because the prices are skyrocketing. Her words are more than insulting, they're a gut punch to anyone struggling to make sense of this mess. And if that wasn't enough, she doubles down, pushing the idea that migrants should remain the top priority for housing. You're left asking, where do we stand then? Where do British citizens fit into this equation? It's the same old story. The people who've paid into the system their whole lives are shoved aside, while the government pats itself on the back for its so-called progressiveness. It's infuriating. It's not even about being anti-immigrant, it's about fairness, about a government that seems more interested in virtue signaling than actually solving the problem. What's worse is the sheer hypocrisy of it all. On one hand, they're saying there's plenty of housing, but on the other, they're talking about building 1.5 million new homes. Which is it? Is there enough housing, or isn't there? And where, exactly, are the 2.5 million immigrants mentioned in Rachel Reeves' budget figures going to live? They can't have it both ways. Every time they try to explain it, the contradictions pile up higher than the waiting lists. When Angela Rayner was confronted about the claim that 5 out of 7 new homes go to migrants, it was a car crash. She dodged the question, fumbled around for an answer, and somehow managed to say absolutely nothing of substance. It was embarrassing. She didn't address the data, didn't explain why the government is prioritizing one group over another, and didn't even attempt to reassure the millions of people who just want to know if they'll ever have a place to call home. It wasn't just a bad answer, it was a slap in the face to anyone looking for honesty. The housing crisis isn't some abstract concept. It's real. It's visible. You can see it in the faces of people lining up at food banks because they're spending most of their income on rent. You can see it in the families crammed into one-bedroom flats or the young professionals still living with their parents well into their 30s. And yet, the government is acting like it's all in our heads. They're gaslighting the nation. But this isn't just about housing. It's about trust, or the complete lack of it. People are tired of being lied to, tired of being told everything is fine when it clearly isn't. And it's not just the government. It's the entire political class. They've created a culture where calling out the truth feels dangerous, where speaking up comes with the risk of being labeled. Ricky Gervais nailed it when he said that cancel culture is just a symptom of a society that's lost trust in itself. People don't believe their leaders anymore, so they start policing each other. This erosion of trust is everywhere. It's in the housing crisis, the NHS, education, you name it. People feel abandoned, like they're on their own in a system that doesn't care about them. And the housing debate is just the latest example of that. When the government prioritizes migrants over its own citizens, it sends a clear message: you don't matter. That's what people are hearing, whether it's true or not. And let's not forget how this ties into the labor market. The government loves to spin the narrative that we need migrants to build the homes, to fill the jobs, to keep the economy running. But what about the millions of unemployed or underemployed Brits who are desperate for work? What about the young people who can't get a foot on the ladder? Instead of investing in training and opportunities for them, we're told to accept that importing labor is the only option. It's lazy policymaking, plain and simple. This isn't about being anti-anything. It's about demanding accountability from leaders who've spent years ignoring the people they're supposed to serve. It's about pushing back against the lies, the dodges, and the excuses. It's about saying, enough. The housing crisis isn't going away, and no amount of spin or PR is going to change that. The government needs to stop pretending it has all the answers and start listening to the people who are living this nightmare every single day. Angela Rayner might think she can talk her way out of this, but the cracks are showing. People see through the platitudes, the empty promises, and the deflections. They're angry, and they should be. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about houses. It's about dignity. It's about fairness. It's about the right to have a roof over your head without feeling like you've been left behind in your own country. And until the government gets that, the anger isn't going anywhere.